Welcome, race fans, to round number 17 of the RSR Asphault Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Designs. We're used to turning left, but this evening we're turning left and right. We are at Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, for this round number 17. Tim Terry and Dakota Ehrman here in the booth. And Dakota, we're used to seeing, we saw Michigan last week. We've seen some short tracks this season. We've seen Daytona to kick off this season. And now we see our first road course of the season, Watkins Glen, coming up a little bit later on in the year. But Road America, site of the first road course race. And some of these drivers, they're looking a little bit lost compared to where they are at an oval.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to be very careful here, especially with some of these drivers. They will get lost. You said they look lost. I think they are lost. I'm lost. I don't come to run road courses often, so this is definitely going to be interesting here with the Real Sim Racing Asphault Assault Series at Road America.
And when we look at last week's results, you want to mention lost. It was Josh Cheney coming across the line in first, but a penalty post-race on the last pit stop. We had a lot of green flag laps at Michigan at the end of the race. Let Guy Snyder, IV, take the victory, driving for Dave Lanza. You see Dave Lanza's name there. Guy Snyder was your winner of that race, running on fumes, ran out of fuel on the last lap. He held off a hard-charging Matt Lacrosse, CJ LeVere, Bobby Terrell, and Clint Monahan. You see the rest of your top 10 there in that race. And Michigan was a pretty good race once we got through a couple of those yellow flags at the start, Dakota, but nevertheless, you'll have that. And now they head to a racetrack where it could very well shake up the standings. If you're a driver that's sitting, well, second on back behind your leader, it could be a big points night for you if you can get up on the wheel and keep it on the racetrack.
You got to make sure you don't get lost. That's the big thing here. It is a road course. It's a very unique thing. But when you look at the point standings, the guy that's been really quick in practice was Stefan Marinak. He is the points leader. He's got that by 50 points over CJ LeVere. Bobby Terrell sits third. He's 68 points out with Matt Lacrosse fourth, 71 out. Clint Monahan sits fifth. He's 110 out with John Abbott sixth. Jose Gonzalez sits seventh, and he's only got a 4-point lead over Rhett McBride. Brian Harvey is ninth with... Rhett McBride's 8th, Brian Harvey 9th, and Bo McGuire sits 10th.
And when you look at those standings, you have Bo McGuire in position number 10 in the standings, 187 points back. And then you look back about 29 points behind, and then you have 16th place Dave Lanza. So there's Bo McGuire, Doug Wyatt, Eric Brundy's not here, of course, fell into the series earlier in the season. But then you have Glenn Campbell, Doug Roth, and Joey Hilton. Between Bo McGuire and Dave Lanza, about 30 points or so between those drivers from 10th and 16th. We talked about that battle last week. It continues to tighten up at this racetrack. So watch for those drivers, as I mentioned, to come through the pack here this evening and see what they have at this racetrack. And it is Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. 4 miles, 14 turns, opened in 1955, and one of the few courses in America to hold its original 1955 configuration. You don't mess with a good thing. In 1956, Tim Flock drove to victory in the only Grand National race ever run here. Since then, the Nationwide Series has been to Road America the past 3 years, with Carl Edwards, Reed Sorensen, and Nelson Piquet as the race winners. They'll be here this weekend as well, along with the ARCA Series presented by Menards. Calamity Corners, turn 3, 5, 6, and 8, all 90-degree bends that always find people off the race course from late braking. Brakes are going to be big here as these drivers are still in the qualifying session. They have about 5 minutes left or so to put in a lap. Drivers that have put laps in so far, well, they're still waiting. Rich Jett's the first one to put in a lap. Bobby Terrell is the second to put in a lap, and he's currently on the top of the board. And the one thing that I saw here, Dakota, and we'll see this throughout the night, I'm sure Laura can get some shots of the rear bumpers of these race cars. We're used to seeing the A-class stripes, maybe a couple of B-class green stripes. These drivers are running their stripes in the back of their cars from their road rating this evening. So whatever your road rating is, that's the color that's going to appear on your back bumper. There are only 2 drivers in this server this evening that I counted in the practice session that have a stripe on, or A-class license on the back of their car, and that is the 4 of Ben Burnett and the 7 of Bobby Terrell, who currently sits second after 7 drivers have come across in the qualifying session. So those drivers have a few more laps under their belts on a road course, at least in official sessions, Dakota, than some of these other drivers do.
How about Stefan Marinac, points leader? He's got a green stripe, so I would say he's pretty comfortable on the road courses, but extremely fast. Yet Road America just knocked off the fastest lap in the qualifying session by over a second. Marinac flying out here tonight. I believe he finished 9th last week. He's got a lot of momentum coming into tonight with the 50-point lead that he has. I have a feeling he's going to be the guy to keep your eye on. Even though he has a green stripe, I don't think those ratings, those stripes, they mean a whole lot, especially if you're Stefan Marinac. I'm sure he could really go get a blue stripe or whatever it is, like he has on oval if he really wanted to out here. I mean, he looks really, really strong here with that 2 minutes 12 second lap, flat there.
Bobby Terrell still hustling his car through the back portion of this racetrack on his second lap. Currently sits in position number 5 on the time chart as he nearly goes off there in one of those 90-degree corners as he continues to put his car through its paces. He's going to come up this time by out of these last couple of corners and see what he has. His last lap by, his first lap, was a 2-minute 13.34 second lap out of the final corner, corner 14, up the front straightaway here. And we'll see if he can do any better than the 2:13.34 he put on the board the last lap by. Bobby Terrell will come across and he'll be 3 seconds slower that lap, so that's not going to get it done. Bobby's likely going to start somewhere in the top 10, currently in position number 5 for the 7, who's won 5 races this season. Marinac has won 4 races. Jose Gonzalez has won 3 races in this series, and he'll look to pick up win number 4 here this evening. And then we mentioned some of the drivers with 1 win: CJ Lavere, Matt Lacrosse, and the Dave Lanza credited with 1 win. Of course, it was Guy Snyder taking that win last week at Michigan. So we're closing in on the final couple of moments in this session and looking at the qualifying. We're going to go down that after our national anthem, Dakota, but look at 2 drivers up there in the top 3 that we don't usually see have stellar qualifying efforts. They're usually somewhere around the top 10. How about Steve Almindo in the 81 and John Abbott in the 10 as Rhett McBride now goes to the outside of the front row with a pretty respectable 2:12.67.
Yeah, those two, I mean, really stellar here. 3rd and 4th now is Rhett McBride, like you said, knocked them down. But those guys you can see that are pretty quick in the race. They might struggle a little bit qualifying from time to time, or races in a row even. Maybe bad luck, maybe missed the line under the pressure. But when it comes down to it here at the road course, I mean, they're really set down a pretty solid line. That's all you got to do is hit your marks. They were able to do that. They set a lap they were comfortable with. They are about a second off of the leader, but I mean, still, I mean, extremely quick lap times compared to some of the other guys out there. Looks like they might have a pretty strong day as they're already up front, and these guys are usually struggling to get up front. They're fast, but they need track position. Now they've got it. It's just going to be a matter of whether they can hold it. And why don't you look down the list here? We have 17th place car so far in qualifying is Beau McGuire. Last week he led a lap, I do believe, during green flag stops. Comes home 6th after starting starting 6th in his 50 machine, and he currently sits in 10th in the points. So I mean, he's kind of he's in the top 10, which is really good. But I mean, he's got somebody like 3 points behind him. That's Douglas White. McGuire has to keep his good runs going to stay in the top 10 here, and looks like he might not be happy with the road courses. He is more of a dirt racer and oval racer, I do believe.
So we are getting ready to go racing here. 20 drivers have taken time, and I believe in just a few moments' time, I hear them getting warmed up for the opening ceremonies. The Cactus Cuties are getting ready for the national anthem. We'll see some different strategies here this evening, some pit strategies with this fixed setup. We'll see possibly some short pitting. We might see some guys run the tank dry, and if it's in the case of Guy Snyder last week, you don't want to run it dry here, especially when you're 4 miles away from coming back onto pit road. Drivers are going to grid here in just a few moments' time. Before we do, we head trackside for the opening ceremonies and our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallant
And that is the Cactus Cuties and the Virtual Thunderbirds with the flyover. We are getting ready to go racing this evening. 30 strong, getting ready to take the green flag as the field will begin to roll off here, and it'll be one pace lap around this 4-mile racetrack. So we got a little bit of time, Dakota, on your front row, though. Stefan Marinek, your point leader, and to the outside, the 69 sneaks in there in those last couple of seconds of qualifying, Chad Cole.
How about rolling off in the third position, the number 15 machine, that's going to be a Rhett McBride with a pretty quick lap on his outside. It's going to be the 81 of Stephen Almendo.
John Abbott rolls off from position number 5 to the outside of him, one of those drivers with that A-class stripe on his back bumper, the 4 of Ben Burnett.
How about Bobby Terrell going to roll off in the 7th position in the 7 machine with Jose Gonzalez in the 26 rolling off in 8th.
Completing your top 10, it's 2 drivers that are locked into that battle for 10th in the point standings. It's Douglas Wyatt in the 12, and to the outside in 10th, it's the 44 of Glenn Campbell.
Eric Arnold, red striper here, going to roll off in 11th in his 47 machine with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse rolling off 12th on his outside.
Brian Harvey sits 9th in the points. He'll roll off from position number 13 this evening, and Jay Randall Watkins rolls the 77 from position 14.
Rich Jett going to roll off in 15th, and his number 32 machine with the 20 of John Milwayne rolling off in 16th.
Jason Lester rolls off from position number 17, and to the outside, it's the 50 of Beau McGuire.
Mark Bradshaw is going to roll off in 19th position, his number 38 machine with Doug Ross rolling off 20th in his 43 machine.
And those were the last 2 drivers to take time here this evening. Jimmy North will start from provisional land in the 84, and to the outside in 22nd, it's the 28 of Doug Fleming.
Josh Cheney going to roll off 23rd at his 11 machine with the 62 of John Loca rolling off 24th.
Nathan Bauer is scheduled to start in 25th. He will start from pit road, did not answer the call to the green flag, and Ed Williams will start in 26th.
Frank Coons going to roll off in 27th in his 48 machine with the 56 of Wyatt Wolf Sr. rolling off on his outside.
Dave Lanza completes your field. Keith Brooks Jr., I believe, is one of your eyes in the sky this evening as a sitting admin. He is not out on the racetrack, as the field will continue to roll through here, and we'll roll under the Johnsonville Bridge, and in just a few moments' time, we're going to let them loose for 30 laps around this racetrack at Road America. Glad you could be with us here on ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network, and we are on ETV Live Radio this evening as well, so if you're tuning in on the radio, we welcome you in to the show. We'll try to keep you abreast of what's going on around this 4-mile, 14-turn road course as they come under the Hawk Performance Bridge, and they'll make another right-hander here as the first racing Ford Mustang pace car still out on the racetrack. And Dakota, final thoughts before we go here. I know Marinek is quick. He's going to be tough to beat. Is there anybody in this field that can top him?
I don't honestly know. You look at Chad Cole, he's got green stripes as well, so he might be a little comfortable on the road courses, but I mean, he was about 3 to 4 tenths slower, 3 tenths slower than Stefan Marinek, so Cole could be quick, but I don't know that he's going to be able to catch Marinek. It's going to be one of those guys that's able to come back at the end of a run, I guess, but I don't know. I'm lost. It's a road course.
We're going to see some great racing here this evening, I'm sure, and that's one of the main things here this evening, Dakota. Keep it on the racetrack. Do not miss your marks. It's going to be hard to do with each of these laps being 2 1/3 seconds or so. 2 minutes and 15 seconds probably average throughout this race as we're coming up on the final couple of corners here, working through the 12, 13, 14 complex, and we are getting ready to see the green flag. Here we are onto the front straightaway at a corner number 14. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car is onto pit road. Field in command of Stefan Marinek, and Marinek getting ready to put the hammer down here, waiting to come up the hill, and he is on the throttle. We are green for the first of 30 laps around Road America. Dave Lanza, or check that, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Chad Cole in the 69 going to fall into line, and Rhett McBride going to be side by side. Looks like Steve Almindo going to get an advantage going into the corner number 1. He will take position number 3 off the hop.
Almendo very quick there. He was able to get around the 15, but now he's got to hold on to it as he sets his sights on the 69 of Chad Cole. He drives into the corner a little bit deeper than Chad Cole had appeared, but the 15 is right back to the bumper of the 81. I mean, these guys are kind of staying nose to tail. You're not seeing much separation here. I know it's very, very, very early, but I mean, you saw John Abbott. He's falling way off of the floor, and that's kind of what I expected from a lot of these guys. Everybody fairly close, so as the 69 has fallen off of the leader of the 24, Stefan Marinek, quite a bit here.
A lot of your drivers keeping single file here. I see Eric Arnold, 47, looking at Matt Lacrosse in the 21. That's around position number 12 or so, just outside the top 10. Couple of positions behind us, we got Beau McGuire in the 50, I believe, off the racetrack. And he's got one following him off the racetrack. That's Frank Coons in the number 48. As they have a little bit of an off, they get back going again. Looks like Beau McGuire really didn't miss a beat. Frank Coons going to lose one position, and he gets contact with Ed Williams in the number 65. Light contact there. They'll get straight again. And it doesn't look like a whole lot of heavy contact to those race cars. Looks like they are clean and they are back underway. And that's what I was about to say. There's not a whole lot of drivers really chancing it side by side early in this race, picking up those quick little positions and then getting going, setting your sights on the guy in front of you and really getting back into a rhythm.
Yeah, a lot of this, road racing, it's all about getting a rhythm and, setting guys up. I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, you think oval racing might be a little bit like that. Oval racing, I think we see a lot of guys just, as soon as they get a run, they use it. I mean, they throw the car down there, and whether the lane's open or not, they make a room, and they take it. You can't quite do that on a road course. One of the things I've heard, when racing road courses is, race the track, not the competition. That's generally how you succeed at a road course. These guys have got to, focus on the track right now instead of the other cars. You definitely don't want to run over another car, but focus on your line. Make sure you're hitting your marks, and you'll do a lot better than what you will, worrying where everybody else is and trying to pass immediately.
I'm not sure on pit strategy here this evening, but I know looking back to the couple of races that I called in the World Championship Grand Prix side, they had the open setup, Dakota, and they had the advantage of how much fuel you start with and trying a little bit of that fuel window. It is a fixed setup here, so those drivers don't have the opportunity pre-race to play with that fuel. So usually you want to be able to stretch it as far as you can and then fill as much as you can. Lighter race car means that you're going to go a little bit faster. I'm not sure the strategy here with these Class B oval race cars, but nevertheless, lap number 1 is completed, and Marinek had a 0.5 of a second advantage on Chad Cole. Cole closes it in right there as they go through one of those 90-degree turns. They come under the Chevrolet bridge, and Marinek slides the rear end of that race car out, and I think Chad Cole was being a little bit generous there as to not throw it in, pitch it in. It's still early in this race, but Chad Cole nearly had a moment, nearly had to let it to the throttle there a little bit and let Marinek save that. Great save by the 24.
That was the second corner in a row. The 24 had a problem. I had been watching this little battle. 69 to run him down. Now we see him. This Chad Cole is just kind of backing off, getting the 24 room now. The 24, 2 corners in a row. He slid a little bit. You saw the second time. I mean, literally almost lost through into the car. Fantastic save by Stefan Marinek to save that car. Fantastic job trying to save that car. It just really was, good driving by him. But when you talked about cars being able to set the fuel, the amount of fuel, even if this wasn't fixed up, stock cars can't do that. They can't do that. Open wheel cars, you might see that a lot more, but you can't do that in the stock car either way. These guys have got to burn off the fuel in the race, come back down, and then basically set the fuel there. They can take a little bit of fuel, a lot of fuel, splash and go, anything like that, but you can't do that to start the race in these cars.
And that's the advantage of the disadvantage, I guess, Dakota, of these race cars. I know with iRacing, there's so many different race cars you can run on this simulation. I know the late model car, some of the modified, some of the lower ranks, you can change that fuel. And of course, as you mentioned with these stock cars, the top 3, that's how much I run them here on the iRacing service. Can't really make that advantage, as it looks like Chad Cole on that last lap made up a 10th. But really, when you're looking at those guys battle for the lead position, it's some will make up a 10th, and then they'll lose a 10th, and then they'll gain a 10th. The closest battle on this racetrack right now, and the most entertaining battle right now on this racetrack, Dakota, I believe is around 11th place or so, 47-32. The 12 of Douglas Wyatt on back. Eric Arnold seems to have his hands completely full right now. He was closing in on the first couple of laps of Matt Lacrosse, and now he has Rich Jett in the number 32 side by side as they'll come up, I believe, on the next big corner here is a left-hander, so we'll see if Eric Arnold can have the advantage and pitch it in. No, Rich Jett will clear him and now close in on Matt Lacrosse in the number 21 car. Goes a little wide there as a couple of drivers go up near that dirt. Dave Lanza in the number 33 is back here, along with John Milwain in the number 14 car, I do believe it is, or 20 car, check that. in position number 14. Jason Lester's back here as well, trying to make a spot on J. Randall Watkins as the 92. Hard into the Armco there, the tires, as he will... he'll lose a bunch of time, and he's still trying to figure out which way he's going to go. The 92 car. Heavy damage to Jason Lester.
I'll tell you what, we were looking at the 32 for a second. 32 came off the corner after he cleared the 47, and he really did not get going. 47 got to the bumper and just about punted him. I mean, he shot him forward. Kind of lucky he didn't get shot down. I think he could have been put in the wall easily there. 32 saved it, kept going. Big gap now between the two. It's that Arnold loses it off the corner into the wall. I don't know which wall, but he's into a wall. As there's all kinds of cars coming. Collects one of them at least.
Trying to get a number on that race car. He went into the fence and then he bounced back up into traffic, and the good thing for the rest of the traffic is that he held the brake. The worst thing for the traffic is that he held the brake. That might have been Rich Jett, or check that. I'm trying to find the number on that. Might have been John Milwain that did get a little bit of contact with him. I believe it was Milwain, and after he hit him, he hit the fence as well. So Milwain's number 20 going to have a little bit of damage, I do believe, as... or check that. It might have been one of the other drivers back there. I'm not sure which one it was, but nevertheless, it was one of those drivers that did have damage to the race car. It was so close there for a couple of drivers, Dakota.
Yeah, I believe actually I want to say it is J. Randall Watkins that ends up making the contact there. 77 machine. As I looked at it again, I mean, it looks like 77 just could not get away. 47 was stuck in the middle. He, like you said, it was kind of the worst thing where he was stuck. He was stopped on the track, but it was the best thing that he was stopped on the track at the same time.
Looks like the 47 of Eric Arnold is onto pit road right now, and Eric Arnold drove that thing back to pit road. That's probably the only good thing about it, because it's dog tracking the wrong way, and Arnold will be there and repairing damage for a few laps. And I believe Doug Fleming is also onto pit road, which would indicate he might have had an off or something here, Dakota, because the 28 car did not drive it onto pit road. So it looks like Fleming may have had an off somewhere on this racetrack. I'm going to go back here and see if I can't find it, but looks like Fleming is on pit road, and yes, he indeed tried to get into one of the braking zones and could not get the thing wound down. He went into the tires, and I'm sure he's going to be sitting there for a little while, besides the tow that he has on that race car to get it back to pit road, as Chad Cole continues to track down Marinak for your lead position. We work lap number 4.
I'll tell you what, one of the benefits of being Chad Cole right now is, Marinak was very, very quick in qualifying. Cole was able to, qualify up front, and he's been able to stay with Marinak. He's been able to follow Marinak. He's able to learn a little bit here, maybe, that he wasn't able to learn in practice, because maybe Marinak would not go out there, show him what's going on. Anybody could, look at a replay, but you can't quite get the experience that you can when you're following somebody. You see, Cole's able to do that now. He's probably learning a thing or two, and maybe saving... or even using something that he might know that's a little better than the 24 in some places, saving it for a little later. But right now, it looks like he's just following the 24 around the racetrack, not letting him get too far out there. If he does, he runs him back down, and they kind of stayed right there. So this is probably one of the best things for Chad Cole if he wants to beat the 24 here.
Just keep them in your tire tracks and make sure you don't have an off or you dip a wheel off the racetrack, and Chad Cole doing that so far. Ben Burnett having a great run so far as well in position number 3. You look at the 11 car of Josh Cheney, last week's quote-unquote winner, and he talked about him coming across the line. He had a pit stop penalty on the last pit stop issued by the admins following the race. So he did not win that race, Dakota. Right now, he's trying to rebound, but he's got a long way to go. Position 16 right now for Josh Cheney, and 33 seconds behind your leaders. It doesn't look like he's going to be in victory lane this evening unless something catastrophic happens to the drivers running up front as he goes off again in, I believe that might be corner number 2.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done it. I mean, he wiped out a few laps ago, actually. There was, I believe, last lap, nearly coming to the start-finish line. Lap or two ago, at least, but... basically just, spun the car out, had to get it going again, but he's losing a lot of time because he cannot get on the racetrack. Just sounds like, it almost sounded like the first time he was just shifting down too much, so he's got to be very careful shifting a big part of this. You can't get in too hard. You can't shift too much at points. You can't shift too early. You got to be very careful. Road course is very specific on what you can do, what you have to do to be quick, and maybe he's just trying to get too much out of it as he's now following behind 10th place in points. That would be Beau McGuire, who currently sits on the racetrack in the 18th position.
Matt Lacrosse is off in the number 21, and I've been keeping a half eye on that one, Dakota, and Matt Lacrosse missed the marks in a couple of corners, and we keep talking about an oval racetrack, and I know we mentioned it at Rockingham a few weeks ago as Matt Lacrosse nearly has a moment with Douglas Wyatt in the 12 car. He'll let Wyatt go for position. I believe that might be 13th or 14th there, but we talk about Rockingham, some of the short tracks on the ovals. If you have an incident, you hit the wall or you get loose, you really have to reset yourself and get back into the rhythm. It's a little more difficult here because you have so many different corners. You might not be accustomed to the racetrack and know the racetrack like the back of your hand, and you have to, as you mentioned, shifting points, braking points, all that other stuff. Matt Lacrosse missed 2 corners. You miss that first corner, yeah, that's okay, and then you try to get back into the rhythm, and by the time you think you're back in the rhythm, you're off the racetrack. So it's hard to get back in the rhythm. And you see the 20 car, John Milwain, he's off the racetrack as well in the final corner as he comes up onto the front straightaway here. There's a lot of drivers that are trying to really get a hold of this thing. They're used to running ovals. Probably if they have, let's say, 100 starts a year, Dakota, probably 95 of them are on an oval track, if not more than that. So it's kind of hard to really go from an oval into a road mentality. I'm sure a lot of these drivers put hours into this racetrack, just trying to learn this racetrack with this race car.
And especially if you do a lot of oval and you're not used to the road stuff like we see a lot of these guys are, when you come to maybe missing your line a little bit, overshooting the corner, going into the grass, the gravel, whatever it is, and you get back on the racetrack. I mean, everything that's just happened, you can basically lose your train of thought and get back on the racetrack and think you're in a whole different area of the racetrack for some reason. You can just throw yourself off, really. You can confuse yourself with where you're at. You get really lost here. And I think I've seen that at least once or twice here with, guys would go into the next corner thinking, oh, I know where I am, and just overshoot their mark entirely here.
48 car Frank Coons is off the racetrack. He will go, I believe, a lap down to the leaders. Eric Arnold, Nathan Bowers, and Doug Fleming all scored off the lead lap right now. Arnold, Bowers, and Fleming all on either pit road or out of the race as Marinak continues to lead with Chad Cole in second, about a half second or so between your top two, and that continues to vary when we come across the line each time as Chad Cole slides that 69 car a little bit in that corner. Ben Burnett runs in position number 3 with Steve Almindo and Rhett McBride completing your top 5. This time by 6 laps completed for Marinak.
It's very unique here. You can watch the 24 and 69. They are running different lines here, and a lot of the corners. The 69 is taking more of a careful approach. The 24, I think I've seen him multiple times just slide up off the corner. He's used to it, but the 69, he's being very careful. He'll even maybe brake a little earlier in the 24. In some corners, not quite there it looked like, but in some corners he'll brake a little earlier and go to the corner really, really smooth, careful. Make sure it does not slide to the corner. Maybe trying to save his tires or something. I don't know, but 69 is running a little bit different line than 24 in a lot of places here.
We're going to step away for just a few moments' time as Chad Cole continues to try to reel in your point leader, Stefan Marinak. We are at Road America, and we've completed 7.5 laps of the 30 here for the RSR Asphault Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design.
Plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing. Welcome back to Road America's site of round number 17 of the RSR Asphault Assault Series, presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design. This time by Stefan Marinek, who will complete 8 of the 30 laps. Chad Cole has fallen off the pace a little bit of Marinek. He runs about 0.8 of a second behind your leader as it continues to fluctuate between about a half second and a second or so between your top two. Ben Burnett is 5 seconds back. And then your battle for position number 4 gets a little bit closer. Steve Almindo is being run down by Rhett McBride. And look who has joined the fray. Dakota. Bobby Terrell is looking for a top 5 run here as he closes in on 4th and 5th.
His nickname is, here comes Bobby, and that's what he's doing. He's coming to the front to the best of his ability. He's coming to the bumper of the 15 very quickly here. It looks like 15 not very far in front of him, so 7 car definitely coming.
And just behind them, I see John Abbott being chased down by Glenn Campbell, and then they have about 4 seconds between themselves and Dave Lanza, who runs by himself. Jose Gonzalez runs by himself. Rich Jett has a little bit of company in Douglas Wyatt, and it looks like Matt Lacrosse continues to really struggle with this race course. He qualified in position number 12, moved up in the first couple of laps, and is now beginning to fall through the field as he sits in 13th, and Jay Randall Watkins chases him. This was one of those races that, when you look at the standings, Dakota, yeah, the point leader might come in, he might struggle a little bit. Obviously, that's not the case this evening, but some of those drivers in second on back, this might be your opportunity to make up some time. And you look at those standings, and Matt Lacrosse 4th. Can't really afford to lose a whole lot of time. I don't see Clint Monahan's car here, and I don't see anybody that would be subbing for Clint Monahan's number 1. So he probably will not lose position number 4, will Matt Lacrosse, but Matt Lacrosse could have gained some points on Bobby Terrell and CJ LeVere, but right now I don't think 13th is going to get it done.
You know, when we talk about maybe gaining points on the point leader, you might not expect him to run well. I don't think he got the points lead by accident. He's got a 50-point lead. He's definitely doing something right. He knows what he's doing. He's very, very, very fast at 24 machine. And the thing is, he's not just fast at one track. He's fast at every track we go to. If he's not, then he finds a way to capitalize on the situation and get a top 10 or get a top 5 finish. And that's what he's got to do. As Cole has taken over the lead by 1.3 seconds.
And we're going to look back here and see what happened to Marinek in the number 24. And by that advantage, you would think that he would have some sort of an off, that Chad Cole would have to come back and take the lead, and indeed he did. Coming under the Corvette bridge, he goes off the racetrack, and he dips all 4 wheels off, and that's all it takes, as Marinek will slide from the lead position back to second. and now he has to reset himself and try to catch Chad Cole, and Chad Cole was just being consistent behind your leader, Marinak. He really wasn't forcing the issue, as Marinak is, I think, really pushing that race car now, Dakota, to catch your leader again, and that might be his downfall right now. Try to be smooth and hit your marks as we go through the same section that Marinak just went off in. It's a little bit cleaner for that number 24 car, but if you're Marinak, maybe try to set your sights on getting some clean racing and get some clean laps in. Don't go off the racetrack, and try not to maybe overdrive that race car. Obviously, you're going to try to catch your leader, but don't overdrive it trying to get there.
Oh, so he gets big time set with what is crew chief for anybody that's working with him has got to tell him is race the racetrack. That's what he has to do right now. He cannot focus on catching Chad Cole. He's very, very fast. We know that there should be a pit stop here, probably within the next 5 to 10 laps, I would say, because I highly doubt that they can go the whole way. I mean, there's no possible way they can go the whole way. So the 24 machine, I mean, really, he's just got to be patient here and wait till he gets the fresh tires. He might be a little faster. It looks like he has really no grip though. Most of the times as he's coming off a corner, it just looks like he's sliding all the way off the corners as he does it again a little bit. He's got to be very careful here. Race the racetrack.
And that's exactly what you have to do. You saw Marinak go off. You've seen a lot of these drivers, and we talked about it under the commercial break. It's hard to keep track of some of these drivers, especially at the back of the field, that are having these offs. When you come across the line here, Chad Cole leads your race through 10 laps, or through 10 laps, 1/3 distance here. He's got 2.3 seconds back to Marinak, but when you look back to about 15th place, he's got about a minute or so, or about half the track, back to 15th place John Milwain, Mark Bratcher, Bo McGuire, and a lot of those other drivers that are back there as well, as Steve Almindo falls down. Rhett McBride and Bobby Terrell go at it going into the first corner, and Bobby Terrell will move into position number 4, so the 7 car passes 2 drivers in about a lap and a half, as the 7 moves up to 4th.
There's only one thing that needs to be said about the 7 car, and that's here comes Bobby. And I think that is his nickname, and that's what he's doing. 7 car coming to the front. He's taking over that 4th spot, like you said. He's around Rhett McBride. Rhett McBride, solid run. He's also around Steve Almindo. Almindo, like I said, he needed the track position. He could run well. He just seems to be falling back here a little, though, after starting up, in the top 5. John Abbott also very solid starting position. He's falling back to the 7th position, and the guy behind him is just about 3 seconds back, I do believe. So, or never mind, he's only 9/10 of a second back. Then it's 2 seconds back to David Lanza.
And there's a little bit of time there now, but this is the closest battle really on the racetrack, or the closest battle on the racetrack amongst drivers, because you go back to Glenn Campbell and Dave Lanza. Lanza trying to make the move underneath Campbell. He's got the inside line in the 44, and they give each other a little bit of room. The 33 will now be on the outside, though, for this upcoming corner, as Glenn Campbell tries to take the position back, but not to slide up into the 33 and end up losing both of their track positions on the racetrack as they get it back single file, and Dave Lanza will move up to position number 8. But you see, when they went side by side, Dakota, you see how much time they lost to John Abbott, the next driver in line. They lost probably about a half second up to that number 10 car. So now Dave Lanza has to rechase the 10 car, and what would be the battle for 4th on back?
The ironic part about that is those two are teammates. They have a radio set up with each other. They can talk to each other. It didn't look like they really communicated that very well. So obviously just going for it here between the two, the 33 and the 44 from Team Manchild Motorsports Racing Incorporated, or whatever that pick long name is. 33 going to take that spot though, and we'll see how much time he loses to John Abbott as he's about to come over the start-finish line. As we work down the front straightaway, 33 going to cross the line. And we'll see if he loses any. Yeah, I believe he loses, about 2 seconds to, or a second and a half to John Abbott.
Oh, Almindo gets loose into corner number 1. He slides the back end, loses John Abbott. We'll close in on position number 6, and this might be what Dave Lanza needs. As it looked like John Abbott was going to pitch it into corner number 3 there, but could not get that inside line on Steve Almindo, or maybe thought wiser of it. When you get that run, you go into the corner and you think it's going to stick, but then again, you don't want to get in that car on the outside and take both of you off the racetrack, or knock one driver sideways, and he might end up coming back into you on the way back. So it's tough, as John Abbott tried to take that spot away from Almindo, just could not get to the inside of that number 81 after he took a slide. And now here comes Dave Lanza. Great run through the first half of this racetrack, and he will close into the back of the 10 of John Abbott. Meanwhile, up in front, Chad Cole has a 4-second lead on Marinak. He has checked out from the rest of this field.
Yeah, Marinak has fallen back. Ben Burnett seems to be staying. I think Burnett's staying pretty solid. He's about 8 seconds back, and he doesn't look like he's losing as much time as Marinak. Marinak, I mean, when he went to the grass, when he went off the racetrack, I think he did something like there's something on the tires. Tires are not happy. He's not happy with the car. Something went wrong because that 24 machine's just gone backwards. Plus the fact that he was overdriving. I think he overdrove it too early, and now he's got to wait till pit stops to make up any time if he can. He's now 4 seconds back. That's a lot of time to make up.
So your leader right now, Cole, Marinak, and that might be something they make up on a pit stop, Dakota, as Chad Cole comes across this time, and he'll have 12 laps completed. Marinak will run in position number 2 right now, and that might exactly be it, Dakota. You might have to get some good laps in here. You continue to lose time. Another second gained on that for Chad Cole. Marinak, you might have to wait till lap 15. Do we see some guys maybe split this race up in 2?
I think you gotta wait till 16, before you can actually make it. But yeah, I think that's the way you want to go. Yeah, I don't know that you want to stay out in these tires any longer than you have to. These guys are really sliding around on the older tires. I think we saw that with Marinak especially. I mean, he views his tires. I think he's going to be one of the first cars we see come down pit road. The moment they can make it on fuel, he'll be there. I mean, he's got to be. And how about David Lanza? He just went around John Abbott. He's taken over the 7th position. He's now to the bumper of the 81. Steve Almindo for 6th.
Steve Almindo, Dave Lanza under the Sargento Bridge, and he will look at the 81 car, and we saw the 81 lose. Oh, almost a little bit of contact there as they made that pass. Is Lanza going to take that position? And I was about to say, you saw Steve Almindo the last few laps have a couple of incidents around these corners, sliding that rear end of the 81 out, and maybe if you're Dave Lanza, get up there, maybe force a mistake out of him, as Dave Lanza nearly has an off on that corner there, slides the rear end out a little bit, but now he takes position number 6 and sets his sights on Rhett McBride, another 2 seconds up on the number 33 car. Looks like Dave Lanza, though, might have something for at least a top 5 run if he can keep it on the racetrack this evening as he begins to pull away from the number 81 of Almindo.
Lanza, I mean, is very, very, very solid. He's teammate to the leader of the 69 of Chad Cole, I believe. I want to say subbing for Joseph Hayes. I keep thinking Joseph Hayes is in the 69, so that might be right. But Lanza, very solid. That's where I was. Very solid. He's now around the 81, and he could catch the 59. Honestly, he can if he sets his mind to it. If he hits his marks, maybe on the pit stops, they can help as well. So we're getting close to lap 14 or 15 here with these guys back here. That it's close to pit stop time.
And with a lot of these drivers, they have to be quick on pit road. They have to make their decisions, get onto pit road, get off the pit road, do not lose any time. Of course, don't get a pit stop penalty on pit road, because that very well could kill you as well, as Chad Cole continues to lead over Marinak by now 6.3 seconds, as Marinak just came across the line to start his 14th lap of the race. And Ben Burnett is closing in on Marinak. The last time by for Marinak, 2:15.27. Ben Burnett was a 2:14.99, so essentially it's about 0.3 of a second that last time by for Ben Burnett on Marinak, but he continues to chip in on that 0.3 of a second, half second each lap. It's going to add up, and it could add up to Ben Burnett ending up taking position number 2 before this race is over, as we're closing in on that halfway point in about a lap and a half.
Honestly, if we go another lap or 2, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 at the most, depending on how far these guys want to go. Like I said, Marinak will probably come in and run the first cars down pit road with the way his car is. But, I mean, if we keep going, Burnett could catch him before the pit stops, honestly. I mean, he's coming very, very quickly, and, Marinak is just falling back. I mean, just every lap, he's not able to get the laps he wants. He's all kinds of sideways all over the racetrack. Every time he comes around the corner, it looks like he is just struggling here in his 24 machine.
Yeah, he is looking for pit road, or he's hoping for pit road to come a little bit sooner. I would say once we hit lap 15 or so, that maybe he'll come down, or maybe he'll try to gut it out for as long as he can before he comes on to pit road, as Chad Cole currently continues to really lay a beating to this field. He just put Doug Roth a lap down to the number 43. Next up on the list would be Ed Williams Jr. in the 65 car, and he's probably at least a half lap or so away from going that lap down as the Chad Cole machine continues to pick him up and lay him down here, as Wyatt Wolf has called it tonight. The 56 is done as Frank Coons comes off pit road. Coons is 4 laps down as he gets passed there by Jason Lester in the number 92. But Chad Cole comes up out of corner number 14 down across the stripe here, and he completes the 14th lap. So we're working now lap 15 of 30 for your leader, Chad Cole. Marinek will come back across the stripe here as well, and he will be 6.5 seconds off the pace of your leader. Ben Burnett lost a little bit of time, it looks like, that time to Marinek, and actually Marinek was over a second faster than Ben Burnett that last time by.
Yeah, he actually, Marinek almost looks like he didn't lose a whole lot of time to the leader, Jack Cole, either, but Burnett, falling back another second to both of those people, both the first and second place cars. And by the way, it is lap 15. I think if he runs the rest of this lap out, Marinek can pit this time. I mean, if he really wants to, he can come down pit road and should be able to make enough fuel from here. So 24, maybe that's why he's picking up the pace. Maybe he's really excited to get to pit road as he goes by the 43 who just went off the racetrack.
So action all over this racetrack as Marinek, as you mentioned, just passed Doug Roth. The 4 of Ben Burnett continues to close in Bobby Terrell, and it looks like we got a battle on our hands for 5th. Here comes Rhett McBride, and Dave Lanza lands on the outside of this corner. Has to go to the back bumper and maybe try to attack that 15 again. If he would have been able to stick to the outside on that last corner, he would have been on the inside on that last corner. Now Lanza goes to the inside of the 15, and I think the 15 might have just let him go there. Dave Lanza moves into position number 5, and it seems like every time he catches somebody, Dakota, he passes them, and then he's going to run down the guy in front of him by about 2 seconds. Bobby Terrell is about 2 seconds or so ahead of Dave Lanza now as he runs in position number 5.
Yeah, but Lanza's doing an incredible job. If he keeps going the way he's going, he's going to be able to catch Ben Burnett. Honestly, in my honest opinion, he's just very, very quick. I mean, he's very solid. He's not missing a beat. He's not missing his line. He knows how to work traffic. I mean, Lanza, just one of the solid cars out there. I mean, he looks as good as Chad Cole. Let me look at the lap times here, but yeah, I mean, they're running very similar lap times as well.
And you look at Dave Lanza's lap times, you mentioned it last time by was a 2:14.16. As Stefan Marinek once again comes on to pit road here as he will be followed in by Ben Burnett. And look at all the time Burnett made coming on to pit road behind Marinek. They are dead even nose to tail as they come on to pit road. And they are going to split this race in two, Dakota. 2 of the drivers really screaming for a little bit of grip, maybe some new tires on their race cars. They come in at the halfway point. 15 complete, 15 to go. And here comes second and the third as Bobby Terrell and Dave Lanza will take second and third on the racetrack, the 4-car on.
And Marinek was off the racetrack. He went through the grass. That's what allowed Ben Burnett to run him down. He went to the grass big time. He was off the racetrack. He had to come down pit road, but looks like they're going to be 4 tires to the 24 machine. That's what he's wanted. Screaming on the radio for it here. So it looks like the left side's down, right side's now up. Watch for Ben Burnett to maybe make up some time here as well. He's going to have 4 tires. Actually going to beat out Marinek, it looks like.
And Marinek a little slow coming up through the gears to get off pit road, and Ben Burnett will take position number 2 once this cycles through, I should say, as Chad Cole is still your leader, and he is closing in on Jason Lester in the number 92 to try to put him 1 lap behind the pace, and Jason Lester runs in position number 21 as the 69 of Chad Cole goes to the inside here, and he will put him in the rear view mirror. 77 also on the pit road, J. Randall Watkins will head on to pit road, and he'll be joined by John Milwain in the number 20. As they come for their pit stops, we're just past that halfway point. Everybody's got to make one, so we'll see when some of these front runners decide to come on to pit road and make their pit stop at Road America.
And I'm going to watch. I think Chad Cole's going to come down this time. He cannot lose too much time to Stefan Marinek. Marinek, he was in. He lost a little bit of time. He even lost a spot, it looked like. Chad Cole can't lose a whole lot of time on loader tires, but it looks like he's going to stay out once again. He's running very consistent lap times, 2 minutes 14-second lap times, 0.2 of a second. He might lose a tenth or two each lap to what he was running earlier, but I mean he's really, really solid. With the line of his times, I mean it shows in his lap times. They're very consistent.
Battle for third heats up as the 7 car and the 15 go at it as the driver in front of them peels off pit road. Dave Lanza just took second, and now he will come on to pit road. He'll bring the 7 of Bobby Terrell. The 81 of Steve Almindo will come on to pit road, as will John Abbott. Rhett McBride will stay out on the racetrack and take that second place position, as Dave Lanza, one of the quickest drivers on the racetrack, is on to pit road in his Asphault Assault number 33. As the tires go up on that race car, we expect 4 tires on this, and all the rest of these drivers that are on to pit road. 33 waiting for the jack to drop. He is down and away. Really quick stop for the 33 car.
I think you could take 2 tires here, but you had to be very careful. You had to save your tires earlier on in the run. 33 out in the way very, very quickly. Got to see if he gains any spots coming off pit road or if he's challenged by anybody, as it looks like 7 car just now down, and he will have no challenge coming off pit road. David Lanza going to win that battle. Same he went in.
Cole is off the racetrack. Your leader, Chad Cole, has an off, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dakota, that might have been the exact same place. No, it was a corner after the fact where Marinak went off a few laps prior to. So Chad Cole has an off, and he will reset his sights. The good thing for him is he had a 20-second lead or so on the battle for what was third place. We'll see where Marinak and the 4 car come out on this, Ben Burnett, but nevertheless Chad Cole has an off. So this might be the lap he decides to come on to pit road. Rhett McBride in position number 2 is keep a half eye on your leaders. I did want to mention, though, the driver closing in on Terrell was Steve Almindo. Before those pit stops, Terrell and Almindo come off nose to tail, so we'll see if the 81 can do anything with your, what was third place driver or fourth place driver, as Dave Lanza made that move prior to pit stop. 69 coming in, yes he is. Here comes Chad Cole, your leader.
And Cole, I mean, that's all he needed was something to wake him up. He does not have to go as far as his competition. Marinak had to go on those tires that had been through the grass, that had been off and sliding around this and that. So I mean, he went to the he went off the racetrack once. That woke him up. Now he's coming on pit road. He's going to get fresh tires, and that's definitely going to help him out. I don't think he'll lose a whole lot of time either.
Rhett McBride's going to stay out here on the racetrack, and I don't think he's going to be scored as your leader this time, because the leader already crossed the start-finish line. So it looks like, as Chad Cole is on to pit road, now getting service to the number 69 car, Rhett McBride stays out on the racetrack, but he'll have to come back around to get that bonus point to lead the lap. 4 tires on Chad Cole's car. He is down and away, and it looks like he will rejoin the field. And once Rhett McBride comes on to pit road, that should cycle the field through, as Cole looks like he had a fairly quick pit stop there, Dakota. We'll wait to see what Rhett McBride does, but it does cycle Ben Burnett back to position number 3, and he and Marinak have not really separated each other. It was Marinak prior to the pit stop that was ahead of Ben Burnett, and now Burnett, as they came off pit road, was ahead of Marinak, and Marinak really shadowing the number 4 car right now.
And that is, kind of weird. I mean, we saw that Marinak was very, very quick in practice, very quick in qualifying, led so many laps earlier on. I don't know whether, he had just went off the racetrack again, though, before coming on the pit road. That's really what I think let Ben Burnett go by. But I don't know exactly what he's doing. I mean, you would think he would be getting by as quick as he can, trying to run down Chad Cole. Maybe not confident in his abilities. Maybe just trying to play it safe right now. I don't know.
15 car Rhett McBride should be on pit road this time by, because he's the last driver to stay out on the racetrack. But I believe, Dakota, he's getting that 1 bonus point if he can, because when you look at the point battle right now, it's John Abbott, Jose Gonzalez, Rhett McBride, Brian Harvey, all within about 18 points or so in this point battle. So that 1 point, with no drops in this series, could very well mean the difference between finishing in position number 5 at the end of the season or finishing, let's say, in 10th place. Rhett McBride is looking for that coveted point. He's got about 40 seconds or so between himself and Ben Burnett, so he should be able to come on to pit road here and collect that 1 bonus point for being the leader. The 15 should be in right here as they come off corner 14, And no, he's going to solidify. He's actually going to stay out, Dakota, and lead this lap. So this might be the perfect opportunity for us to step away and take our pit stop. If you see anything, we'll let you know what happened when we come back from commercial break. This is the RSR Asphault Assault Series presented by Inside Sim Racing and Derek Spear Design Round 17 at Road America. Don't go away.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week. InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Welcome back as Chad Cole should take the lead back here from Rhett McBride as Rhett McBride is onto pit road, and he's on pit road. He's got no power to the 15 as he ran that thing dry of fuel, and he is going to probably need a tow back to his pit box. You talked about getting the 1 point for leading the lap, Dakota, and it looks like it's going to backfire in a big way because he's going to lose a bunch of points here because he is not going to make it back to his stall. Out of fuel for the 15. It lets the 69 car take the lead back, and he nearly had a moment when Mark Bratcher went off in front of him, and he had to just swerve to avoid that number 38 Z-Loop Computer Electronic Recycling Center's car as Rhett McBride might get a push here on pit road from Jason Lester, and looks like Lester going to give the 15 car a push, so he doesn't need that tow back to pit road.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was still sitting on pit road, and I waited to see, and then, I was expecting somebody to kind of come up, and it's the 92 going to slowly get to his bumper, try to push him down pit road into his stall so he can get fuel in the 15 machine so he can roll away under power.
Battle for second as Ben Burnett and Marinek go at it side by side, and Marinek gives a little shot to the 4 as the 24 will go back to position number 3 here, and Ben Burnett will take the spot back once again as Marinek didn't have enough room, it looked like, there to really complete the pass. We talk about some of your oval tracks not wanting to be on the inside because you want to sweep up out of the corner and take as much real estate as you can, and same deal there for Marinek. Wanted to get that run off the corner, but Ben Burnett was there. You saw the little contact, and now Marinek has to reset himself for what will be a battle for position number 2 behind Chad Cole, and this battle here is about 12 seconds or so behind your leader.
You really, really, really have to set these guys up. I mean, you cannot, throw the car down there, try to enter low, even entering high. I mean, you really just have to be able to get them off of the corner or in a place that's not going to cost you any time, or that you'll have the advantage no matter what. Right now, if he's trying to make a pass in the corner, he's got to be able to, maybe break a little earlier, get to the corner a little bit better than the car in front of him, or even off the corner, one of the two. But he's got to be able to do something better than the 4, and he can't do, make a mistake or something like that. He knows exactly what he needs to do to be fast here, and he can't compromise that.
And when you go in there, we talk about 10 laps to go now. We've seen at short tracks and different racetracks, these stock cars are built for, a little bit of bumping, a little bit of fender rubbing. You can use the bump and run here. It's just a matter, if you use the bump and run, you've got to run and run fast. There's going to be no cautions. You have to make sure you keep it on the racetrack if you do happen to use a bump and run, as Marinak and Ben Burnett not running for points, but correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the 4 car is CJ LeVere, and he would be second in the standings, I believe, if that is the case, and all the subs fall into line and everything, Dakota. But nevertheless, you don't want to lose a race on a bump and run, but if you're going to take a position and you feel confident in it, why not, as Marinak now has to try to reel back in Ben Burnett. It seems like once they had that contact, it looks like Marinak has not been able to really gain any more time on your second place driver.
Well, bump and run. First off, bump and run. When you talk about that, you better be fairly certain you're faster than them as well, because if you do that and they're able to run you back down, if they don't run up the racetrack or run off the racetrack and they can run you down, I have a feeling that the favor will be returned, only a little bit harsher, especially if you don't run them off the racetrack, because they will run you off the racetrack generally. Hearing one car off of the racetrack currently. But yeah, the 24 is 43 off the racetrack currently. Doug Roth.
And the 20 car also off the racetrack, I do believe, according to Laura. Yeah, indeed, the 20 car is off the racetrack as well. So 2 cars going off the racetrack at the same time, John Milwain and Doug Roth. And it looks like for the 43, he does not hit the tires. He just goes off in the little runoff area. Unfortunately for Milwain, it's going to be heavy damage to the number 20 car. He'll have to come back onto pit road. Rich Jett is chasing down Matt Lacrosse for position number 10, as Douglas Wyatt a little bit behind this battle. Closest battle on the racetrack, though, it looks like Dakota between 10th, 11th, and 2nd and 3rd. Pick your poison. It looks like the battle for 10th might be the closest one, with Matt Lacrosse trying to hold off Rich Jett.
Yeah, because Ben Burnett has gained a 2.5 over Stefan Marinak. Marinak missing his line. He's overdriving the corners, everything, so he's losing a lot of time up there in 3rd position to the 2nd place car. You look back here at that battle you were talking about, and it just seems like it's getting closer and closer here. Lacrosse, you look at Lacrosse back in 10th position, hitting his marks, trying to hold off the 32 of Rich Jett. Rich Jett very, very quick. And it looks like, Rich Jett, he's getting into the corner a little bit faster, but he's not getting off quite as quick here.
And these two drivers have really been battling since the start of the race. You see the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. He started in 12th, went up a little bit, went back a little bit, but it seems like Rich Jett has been following him throughout his trials and tribulations here at the Road America Racecourse. They come up at a corner number 14 down the straightaway, and they will complete their 21st lap, so they have 9 laps to go for Matt Lacrosse. And this happens about a half track or so behind Chad Cole, as Chad Cole is out by 12 seconds over Ben Burnett, and it looks like Marinak has caught the 4 car once again. Your battle for 2nd heating up.
Yeah, I believe Ben Burnett had knocked off like 3 seconds on the leader, Chad Cole. That might be gone if these two race back here for position really hard here.
You're right on board with Marinak here as he continues to chase down the 4 of Ben Burnett. It was about a 2.5 or so to go to the last time by, so it looks like Ben Burnett in this last lap or so may have missed his mark somewhere, as now Marinak is breathing down his neck at 2nd.
Yeah, Marinak right there, and he's really, really quick. I think we can't say it enough. Marinak qualified pole, fastest in practice, led a lot of laps early on. It's just mistakes that have put it back here. 4 car off the racetrack. He's going to go on the grass. He's going to put the 4 car way up, or the 24 way up the racetrack, and he's going to. The 24 is going to hang on the outside. 4 car retains the position, but that's going to cost him a lot of time right there.
It's going to lose him a ton of time, but Marinak in the 24 still on his back bumper. He did not make the move on Ben Burnett. They are 15 seconds back, and if they continue this battle, we talked about one of those fastest drivers in the racetrack prior to pit stops. He's going to be up here in second before this race is over. I do believe Dave Lanza is closing in within 2 seconds of your second and third place battle, as Lanza in fourth is starting to lick his chops. I wonder if Laura can get maybe an onboard with the 33. You can see how close he starts to get as these two drivers in front of him go at it for the spot.
And we are riding on board with the 33 machine of David Lanza as you watch him heading down to another corner, getting down the gears very, very quickly, getting to the corner as quick as he can. See a little bit of smoke there. Somebody had just been off the racetrack just in front of him, and it was not those two leaders. With the car in front of them, I do believe, I can't quite tell who that is. But Lanza trying to run down these cars in front of him to the best of his ability, really hitting his marks, and it looks like with those two racing, he might actually be doing it here.
That's Brian Harvey that moves out of the way in the number 66 car, so he will fall back behind these leaders. Harvey has currently scored 1 lap down in position number 16, and he should be able to pass John Milwain, I do believe. I shouldn't say that. I thought Milwain would come on to pit road with the damage that he had on his race car after that off Dakota, but he's currently scored in 15th place. I don't think he came on to pit road. Maybe he's just trying to tough it out and stay on the racetrack for the remainder of this event. We have a 3-car battle for position number 2 as Ben Burnett tries to hold off Marinak and Lanza as they work to the corner here. Final couple of corners on this lap, as there's a lot of dust and dirt being kicked up in front of your leaders, and I'm not sure who that came from. I believe the only driver up there is J. Randall Watkins.
And Marinak way up the racetrack last corner, and that has allowed David Lanza to get right to his bumper. Marinak just overshot the corner. It's simple mistakes like that he's made over the last few runs, over the run here. I mean, he struggled before the pit stop, just before the pit stop. Now he's starting to struggle again as we get, close to 10 laps into this run. I mean, he's going to hang on, but we're going to have, I do believe, 6 or 7 to go here.
We have 7 laps remaining for your leaders. You watch this battle for positions 2, 3, and 4, and it might be 3rd and 4th. That might swap hands here in a few moments as Dave Lanza, that off that Marinak had, or that bomble that Marinak had, it closes in Dave Lanza. Great corner there for Marinak. It closes a little bit of the time between the 2nd and 3rd place drivers and adds a little bit of time to the gap between that 3rd and 4th place car as they continue to battle, and as they battle, it's Chad Cole up in front, and he is gone by 17 seconds. Chad Cole in his own zip code now as the 33 overshoots the corner, goes underneath Marinak, and just completely overshoots the corner. And it's a piece of heads-up driving there, Dakota, by that number 24 car. You see that 33 come in way too hot, and you let him slide off the racetrack without getting into you. Heads-up piece of driving there, but they lose about a half second or so off Burnett.
Well, 24, he's very, very smart about how he gets to the corners and how he knows you have to get to the corners. You can't be just up against the line or up against the grass, on the side of the track that you're about to turn into. Or the car just won't turn. I think he knew that the 33 was just too low entering the corner. There was no possible way he could make that corner and without slowing down all the way. Basically, he'd have to stop to do it. And so Marinak gives him the room. And when the 33 runs off the racetrack, he was kind of expecting that and able to capitalize and gain that position back. Lanza now has to run back down the 24, but Lanza, that was a surprising move to even see him get up there. He really threw the car into the corner, was able to run down to 24, so 24 got a little loose getting in that corner, maybe shifted down a little too early, but they're running out of laps here, and Lanza knows that he's got to do everything he can to try to get the spot here.
So Lanza looking for a top 3 run here after his car went to victory lane last week. It wasn't Dave Lanza driving, it was Guy Snyder behind the wheel, but we mentioned it the last couple of races. It seems like Dave Lanza's been running up front, but he's not there when the checkered flag flies. Either an accident takes him out, a pit road penalty, something takes the 33 out of the mix for a top 5 run. And right now Dave Lanza is going to have to try to hold on for another 6 laps, but he's going to try to get 2 more positions before that time runs out. Dave Lanza has put himself in this battle for the top 10 in the standings, so with a run here with the 69, the 4, and the 24 in front of him, he's standing to gain a lot here in the standings.
That he is, and if I heard right, Dave Lanza started in the 29th position here. Last car to actually start on the grid here. I mean, that was impressive. What a comeback for him as he's climbed up to the 4th position. He's only 18 seconds behind the race leader, but I mean, he started in the rear of the field. You can't expect more of him really right now as he's running right behind the 3rd place car of Marinak, trying to maybe, I don't know, maybe he's trying to pressure Marinak into making a mistake. We saw Marinak make a few mistakes here and there that have cost him a lot of time as they try to go around Frank Coons, who comes up the racetrack, 24 up into the grass, 30 car. He caught the curb, and that's nearly going to turn him around. That's going to give these 2 cars a big-time loss of speed, and that's going to allow Ben Burnett to drive away.
And Frank Coons is around in the gravel and comes back onto the racetrack. And if I'm Frank Coons, it might be time to pull it into the pit area, because I think with 8 laps down in a 16 or in a 25 lap race so far, it not standing to gain a whole lot by being out there. Bratcher is off the racetrack, and looks like one other driver in front of him as well, Josh Chaney, off the racetrack. So it might be time for him to pull it in to pit road. Your battle for position number 3 is a battle no more as Dave Lanza, through all that excitement, Dakota, with Frank Coons, he gets by Marinak in the successive corners, and now Marinak is back looking at the 33 in the final corner. It's not going to happen there, but Marinak put up a charge. I don't think this battle is done, and the only driver that can be happy about that maybe is Ben Burnett, as Burnett is going to gain about a second or so on these drivers here, and it's going to be about nearly 3 seconds between 2nd and 3rd now. So Dave Lanza has that position, and we mentioned it a little bit earlier when Lanza picked up a spot when everybody got strung out. He had about 2 or 3 seconds to gain on the next driver in front of him. He's got 3 seconds to gain, and he's got about 5 laps to do it, so Lanza needs to get up on the wheels. Elbows up now, boys, to see if we can get a 2nd place run from this 33 car.
I'll tell you what, as long as he does not look at his mirror, the 24, he's coming, but he's driving too hard now. He's doing what he was doing with Chad Kelly. He's trying to get back by the 33. He wants to go up and catch the 4, and he's overdriving just a little bit. In my opinion here, I think he's overdriving just a little bit, costing himself a little bit of time. I think I saw at least once or twice in the last few corners where he comes off the corner and he's sideways because he's overdriving to get to the throttle too early or too hard, and it's costing him a lot of time here. As Lanza, I mean, he's been very steady, he's been very patient on the throttle. I mean, if he keeps his eyes forward, I think he's going to be all right here.
Yeah, he's got to keep his eyes forward, not miss any marks, and to make sure he keeps it on the racetrack. As the 4 of Ben Burnett going to come up on Doug Roth in the number 43 car. And Doug Roth 2 laps down right now in position number 18, just trying to finish this race, as Doug Roth will pull to the inside, and the 4 will go to the outside. Now it's a matter of where Dave Lanza catches the lap cars. The 4 car nearly goes off the racetrack as he tried to get a little more out of that race car. 33 passes without an issue. Marinak might get caught behind the 43 here, catches him at an awkward angle, goes into the inside of the 43, but might have lost a little bit more time there to the 24 Marinak.
And you gotta think Lanza's on the radio saying, knock knock, I'm here. As he's caught the 4, he's there. He is to the bumper of Ben Burnett. Marinak has fallen off quite a bit, but Lanza definitely not. It's actually, he lost some time off of that corner, and that's allowing Ben Burnett to pull away, and this is a very long straightaway, not a straightaway you want to lose time on. Even just a little bit, just carries all the way down the straightaway, but Lanza is coming. He is all the way up to the bumper of that 2nd place car. It seems like you give him a corner or 2, and I mean, he'll be back up to the bumper, like, exactly just on it. It's just going to be getting around him. It's going to be the thing.
And you know, he gained a half second on your leader the last time by, so Dave Lanza is quick. He's quicker than Ben Burnett right now. The only difference is that he's going to run out of time to catch your leader unless Chad Cole puts it in the tires in one of these corners. Cole just has to hit his marks right now. He's 19 seconds ahead of this field, and he'll be in victory lane. But the battle is going to be for position number 2. Keep a half eye on this battle for 7th as well, as Dave Lanza closes in on Ben Burnett around the lap car of J. Randall Watkins, and it looks like Dave Lanza going to lose a lot of time there, as J. Randall Watkins on the inside of that corner. Lanza had to go around the outside, and now once again he's got a lot of time to make up on Ben Burnett. Mentioned that battle for 7. Steve Almindo was up in this battle for 5th at the start of the race, Dakota, and now he sits back in 7th place. He's got about 8 car lengths or so on Glenn Campbell as they come down to the finish of this one.
Not anymore. 44 comes off of the corner very quick. 81 not able to get going. 44 shoots down to the corner. He's going to be able to get around the 81 and make the corner. Steve Almendo falls back another spot. He's going to fall back to the 8th position to Glenn Campbell.
And I don't think this one is over. And as soon as I said there was 8 car lengths between them, it looks like the 81 threw the parachute out. And now he will look once again in the 44, Glenn Campbell. Campbell will begin to pull away a little bit here as the 81 tries to do something with that race car. Meanwhile, the 21 and 32 are battling back here as well. Keep a half eye on that battle for position number 10 as Matt Lacrosse and Rich Jett are going to go at it for the top 10 position. And just behind them, I believe, that's a lap car there. I was going to say Douglas Wyatt's back there as well, but he's got about 30 seconds or so between this battle for 10th and 11th place. So Matt Lacrosse has his hands full. Glenn Campbell has his hands full with Steve Almendo. And Ben Burnett is probably going to have his hands full before the end of the race with Dave Lanza, because Lanza's got 3 laps to catch, your 2nd place driver.
Last time by, Burnett faster than Lanza. And it looks like by nearly a second. Nearly a second. So Burnett really hitting his marks, Lanza not. I think it was a 2:14 for Burnett, and Lanza had been hitting 2-minute 13-second lap times, 2-minute and 15-second lap time. That time by, so definitely did something wrong there in the 33 machine, but he's got to hang on and keep hitting his marks here, and he'll be able to run him back down, I think.
The difference was that lap car that he caught on the 33 at Dave Lanza going on the outside of the 27 and not being able to capitalize, and it was in this corner right here that Lanza ended up catching that lap car and had to go to the outside. You see that, Dave Lanza nearly loses it in that corner. He slides the rear end out that time, and that's going to lose a lot more time for Dave Lanza. He might be trying to overdrive that race car to compensate for that time that he lost on the lap before, and that will reflect on the stopwatch as well. And I was about to mention that lap car caught him in the wrong position, and Ben Burnett was able to go underneath and not miss a beat. And now Dave Lanza, I think, is just trying to maybe overdrive the car to pick up that time that he lost, and he's going to have 2 laps to make it up, and he's going to have about a second or more. It's not impossible. We've seen Dave Lanza do it before, but he may have the tires a little bit angry at him now.
Well, there's one way I look at this. Yeah, I'm hearing Lanza has heavy damage, but Marinak, excuse me, that's not Lanza. Marinak has heavy damage from his 24 machine, and he's fallen back 3 seconds behind these guys at least. But when we talk about Lanza, he's overdriving the car. Maybe you can't do that. You don't do that, when you're out front by yourself. You can't do that when you're trying to catch somebody because you're not used to it. First off, the car maybe not used to it. Maybe the car's not as good as you think it is. Or anything like that, but I mean, if you overdrive the car, it's not going to show in the stopwatch. It's only going to hurt you, I think. That's generally what we see, especially on road courses. Road course is very specific about that, so he's just going to run his line and hope he can catch Burnett. Burnett maybe make a mistake, but him running the way he is, he's giving Burnett more of a gap. That's making Burnett more comfortable, and the more comfortable he is, he's not going to make a mistake. I can guarantee you that.
81 of Almendo nearly took out the 44, Glenn Campbell, on that last corner. Almendo went in way too hot and almost took out the 44 of Glenn Campbell. Caught that into the corner of my eye. That was the last couple of corners in this racetrack. They now come up at a 14 and will come across the line this time and have 2 laps to go. So I think that's the closest battle within your top 10 right now, as Almendo tries to chase down Campbell at position number 7, as Matt Lacrosse and Rich Jett continue to battle as well for position number 10, about 5 car lengths or so between them. But that's all it takes, especially in these last couple of laps, Dakota. If you're trying to gain a position and you try to get everything that you can, you might overshoot a corner like Almendo nearly did, and you might take out both race cars.
Or you could pull David Lanza, shove it underneath the 24 and overdrive the corner, end up nearly outside the racetrack, but save it. The 24 pulled across it. I mean, that was an amazing move right there. I'm not going to let that go. 24-33, if you remember earlier. But you can't overdrive the car. I don't know how many times we can say that here. It will cost you big time.
Brian Harvey with an off in front of that 7th place battle. Harvey will now be in position number 15, and if they can get up on the wheel, if John Abbott ends up ducking a couple of wheels off the racetrack, you might see a battle there for 6th place. But it will require, I think, a couple of wheels off for John Abbott in order to lose that 6th place position as Chad Cole works through the final couple of corners of this racetrack. And this time by, he'll come up at a corner number 14 and he'll see the white silk. 1 lap remaining for the 69 of Chad Cole as he takes the white flag right here. 1 to go for the 69.
How about Chad Cole? I mean, started second. He was I don't even think he was that high in practice. Just ran behind the 24 the first part of the race. I mean, the first quarter of the race at least. It was just kind of hanging out. Now he's up front with a 19-second lead and just really, really strong tonight in the 69 machine, subbing here actually.
Last lap by, Marinek had to have an off. We talked about damage on the 24 car. 2-minute 25-second lap the last time by. Bobby Terrell was 10 seconds faster than Marinek. They come up at a 14. They'll take the white flag here, and Terrell will look at position number 4 on this final lap as the battle is not a battle for second, as Ben Burnett's going to have to dip a wheel, I believe, here to lose that second place spot to Dave Lanza. And looking back at that 7th, 8th place battle as they come across to take the white flag, it's Glenn Campbell over Almindo by about 8 car lengths or so. As they have some lap traffic, that could be an interesting battle there with Milwain and the 43 of Doug Roth in front of this battle for position number 7.
And the battle for second might, I don't know if this is going to be a battle or not, but they are coming up on one car that is slow. I definitely think that, you know, for even Lanza to be able to get around, it's definitely going to take the Ford making a mistake or having trouble with that lap car, but they are approaching the 92 of Jason Lester, I do believe, is who it is, 19th position. He is 3 laps down, trying to run down, I do believe he is actually the first car 3 laps down, just trying to hang on and beat out Jaron Watkins in the 77. So it looks like Ben Burnett's just going to have to be careful.
Glenn Campbell is off. Steve Almindo in the 81 is off as well. That was your battle for 7th place, and Campbell is dog tracking. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. Jose Gonzalez is standing to gain a lot of time, as is Rich Jett and Matt Lacrosse, as Chad Cole is looking for the checkered flag. This time by, working through 13, he'll come up to 14 this time by, and he's got a couple of lap cars in front of him, but it don't matter. He's got 17 seconds back to second, up at a 14, up the front straightaway, and checkers are out for Chad Cole, your winner at Road America. It's about 17 seconds back to this battle for second, and Dave Lanza giving it all he can handle, pitches it in on the 4. It's not gonna stick. The 4 car gonna come up at a 14, and he will take second place over Dave Lanza in position number 3. What a run by that 33 though, Dakota. He drove it in the final couple of corners.
That was a valiant run. 3rd place finish up with the 33 machine. 333, fantastic run. I mean, that's all you can say. He did a fantastic job. I don't think he could have done anything more. I'll look back and see what happened with Glenn Campbell and the 81 of Steve Almindo. Glenn Campbell was on the inside of a car trying to make a pass. I think it was a lap car, and it was going into a corner. And Almindo, I mean, the brakes just, I don't think there were any, because he went to the corner. It almost looked like full speed. He's got to the back of the 44 and punted the 44 out there. I think the 81 lost the engine. 44 just had the toe knocked out big time.
You show how hard these drivers were racing. Bobby Terrell comes across the line in 5th, and he was trying to get your Marinek for position number 4, and he did not get there. He ended up in the fence off corner 14. He still comes home in 5th. We're going to step away for just a few moments' time. Post-race show coming up here at Road America. Your winner's Chad Cole. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
Welcome back to ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network, and Chad Cole is on the front straightaway now as your winner. Chad, you made it look easy in this race. Talk about 30 laps at Road America. He's a happy camper here. Chad Cole, it's Tim Terry in the booth. You got a copy? As he gets the microphone straight, we'll see if we can't catch up with maybe Ben Burnett, who pulls up here to position number 2. You had to hold off Dave Lanza coming to the finish of that one.
Man, that was rough. Yeah, David was fast. I don't know what happened to him in qualifying, but I knew he was going to be tough. And when I saw that he didn't make it in qualifying, I knew I had a chance of finishing at least top 3. Hopefully. But yeah, he was flying.
Want to talk about that pit stop. Coming up to the pit stop, you were chasing down the 24 car. You get right up to him and then make that pass off pit road. Talk about trying to pull away from that battle for position number 2.
Well, my car, it really didn't start running good until about somewhere between lap 7 and 10 of a run. And I knew that if I could stay in front of him, I might have a chance of holding him off. There, 6 to 8 laps into the run, we had a real close battle there for a lap or two, and I was doing all I could to stay in front of him. He run me clean. I tried my best to run him clean. Fun racing though.
Subbing for the 4 team is CJ Levere. How big is this for that team, especially with him being second in points?
Well, I knew that I needed to gain some points for him if I could, and I think that I did. Not 100% sure. I know I didn't lose any for him, so that's a plus.
I know you got some sponsors on the car and some teammates that help you get to the racetrack each week, and especially here at Road America. I'm sure there was a lot of time put in at this racetrack. Who makes it happen for you?
Well, first off, I need to thank CJ for letting me drive his car. AXO Sanitary Services, Hippie's Paint Shop, Richie B's Restaurant, which is my personal sponsor. I want to thank ETV Live for putting on such a good show for us 2 nights a week. Fearless Racing, them guys, we worked all week on trying to get this down, so I owe a big thanks to them, especially Hippie Doug, Frank Coons, Stephen Marinick, Stephen Melindo, a few more. But yeah, thanks guys, thanks to y'all, thanks everybody.
That's Ben Burnett, your second place finisher. I'm going to go to Dakota Ehrman, who's going to catch up with your winner, Chad Cole.
I think we finally got him, Chad Cole. You did it. You had to beat out, first off, it was Marinac. You got by him. You pulled away. Then there were pit stops. I think just before the pit stops, you went off the racetrack. But, I mean, it comes down to you with over a 15-second lead at the end of the race. What a race for you. Describe 30 laps at Road America.
Yeah, kind of last-minute deal came together, subbing for Augusto here, and it really worked out for him. Gotta apologize to Stefan. I almost ran him over. Well, I did. We made contact going into 1. Luckily, we're still going straight at the time. I gave him a pretty good shove. We hang on to it right there. I actually learned a lot running behind him for the first 10 or so laps.
And how important were those first few laps when you got to run behind him and maybe learn a thing or two?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I haven't turned laps here until today in this car for this race. So watching him, he won practice, he won qualifying, and learning a couple different lines through corners. I don't even know the numbers of the corners, so I can't tell you which ones it were.
And I know that this track is not really any in any way, shape, or form similar to what the track will be at Monday night, besides the fact that there are right turns and left turns? Do you think you can carry the momentum in the things you learned from this racetrack into Monday night, where I do believe you're the points leader?
I like to think so, but they're two different beasts altogether. A car is real tough to drive.
All right, Chad. Well, who makes that for you here?
Yeah, you gotta thank hippiespaintshop.com for this sweet orange and black car I have tonight. Team Manchild Racing, Glenn and Dave are with me tonight. Guy, he's on a little vacation on Thursdays. Augusto for letting me sub for him, and you guys at ETV that make these broadcasts happen.
All right, thank you, Chad. Now we're going to grab to Tim Terry, who's standing by with a third-place finisher in the 33 machine. It was so close. Just came up a little short here, Tim.
And one of the drivers that had to work the hardest here this evening to get that third-place finish, Dave Lanza. Want to talk about that battle at the end of the race between you and Ben Burnett. You were closing in on that Ford, just couldn't get there at the line.
No, I really burned my stuff up. I was charging hard to catch him and Stefan. And I just wore it out, and then we came up across a lapper, and I shoved it out wide, and then that was all she wrote. I could gain back up on him, but I just didn't have enough time. He was quick.
It looked like you had a very fast car throughout this race, and you were closing in on guys before the pit stop, made up some time afterwards. How big was the disadvantage starting 29th here tonight?
Oh, it's huge. If only I could have got a qualifying lap in, maybe I would have been up front with those guys and been able to run with Chad. That would have been lots of fun. But hey, from 29th to 3rd, that's like a win.
And it's going to help you in the points as well. We mentioned it off the top of the show that 10th place in the points all the way back to yourself, about 30 points or so between yourself and Beau McGuire. McGuire had an off night. Joey Hilton, I don't think was here this evening. And you look at a couple of other drivers there that had some off runs. How big are you thinking points to try to get up here in the top 10?
I'm not really thinking of points. I'm just thinking of race by race. I've been getting better. So I'm just taking it one race at a time, and the points still work out themselves. I got to give hats off to everybody tonight here, because everybody ran an exceptional race today. They let you go if they knew you were faster, and it was great. Hats off to everybody.
Talk about one race at a time. Daytona seems to be a wild card in this. Have you already talked to some drivers who you're going to draft with next week?
No. More than likely, though, it'll be one of my teammates, Chad, Glenn, or Guy. We'll try and hook up. But if we get separated, there's lots of guys out there that good drafters that I'm sure that hopefully wouldn't mind hooking up.
Got some sponsors on your car, and I know you mentioned those teammates. Let us hear it again. Any final thoughts before we let you go this evening? The mic is all yours.
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates, Chad, Glenn, and Guy, who's not here, but we missed them. Hippie Paint Shop. Those guys are awesome. They painted my cars, and got to give a shout out to them for sure. You guys, you're doing a great job. RSR, and what is that? I'm sorry, I forgot who it is. No, it's Sim. It's the that TV Sim. Sorry, no. Inside Sim Racing. Sorry, a little brain fart there, guys.
And that's Inside Sim Racing. Darren and Sean put on a great show. That's Dave Lanza coming home in position number 3 this evening, and Inside Sim Racing sponsoring the Thursday night series. All your latest news and reviews in online motorsports. Join Darren and Sean for the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto racing games for the PC and the Xbox crowd, from steering wheels to full-size racing rigs. They have it all. The yellow pages of online auto racing, isrtv.com. And, of course, Derek Spear Design as well. Dakota coming on board this evening. Final thoughts. Road Course, Road America put on a great show. And then next week we head to Daytona, which is going to be a whole different beast than what we saw tonight.
definitely. Right turn, left turn. We're lost. I don't know where we are, but it was a road course. It was interesting to say the least, and I can't wait to come back next week for Daytona. Don't forget to tune in Monday night for the Real Estate Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. They will be at a road course as well. I don't know which one, but I do know we will be at a road course. And also tomorrow night, don't forget to check in Super Speedway Cup Series, ssseries.com. Broadcast starts at, I do believe, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Check it out.
A lot of great content over here at ETV Live, powered by the HD Radio Network, so be sure to tune in tomorrow night and the rest of the evenings as well. That's going to do it for us here this evening. So for all of us here, JD Webb, Laura Lawson, Dakota Ehrman, my name is Tim Terry, saying we'll see you next week when we say let's go racing from the Daytona International Speedway. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.